Hello, welcome to the Partner Keynote. As you can imagine, from going into this year, we planned on having partner summits every quarter in North America, and now we're actually doing this event through virtual because of the times that we live in today in COVID anyway. What I'm going to take you through today is, for the next 45 minutes, myself, Rodolfo, who's the president of Vonage Applications Group, and Ryan Began are going to talk to you about why it's important to be partners with Vonage today. I'm going to go through a couple of housekeeping questions first. What I'd like you to do is actually put all of your notes or all of your questions into the chat box on On24's platform. We will get to those questions as we go through. We're going to take breaks in between as we switch presenters. We will answer those questions live, but also at the end of the questions, if there's anything that we did not get to, what we'll do is we'll contact you directly, whether that's a phone call or an email after that. So we look forward to the next 45 minutes with you. So I want to start off by welcoming everyone. You know, this is the first Partner Summit online, so we're looking forward to this from a Vonage perspective. Like I said, going into the year, we had some plans to actually run these face-to-face, but because we are in the midst of a COVID isolation period, I think that it's much more responsible that we do this remotely. We do look forward to someday getting back to the new norm, seeing you face-to-face and actually working through our partnerships a lot closer together anyway. This is a presentation for the Salesforce ecosystem, SIs, GSIs, ISVs. This is the first of a 7-part series. We're going to run, like I said, 40 to 45 minutes. Most of these sessions are between 30 and an hour and a half. I'm going to go through a full agenda later on in the presentation in regards to what's coming up next over the next week or so. We're going to have a lot of topics around, applications group, how to implement Vonage, but also, the priorities and what's important about our APIs anyway. So for today, we're gonna talk to you about why is communications important in the environment that we're in today and looking forward. We're going to give you a brief history of Vonage, talk to you about why Vonage is a summit partner of Salesforce. Again, we'll welcome Ryan on board to talk a little bit about Salesforce, the ecosystem around Salesforce. We're going to have a Q&A with Rodolfo, the president of the Applications Group, and then again take you through the agenda for the next week anyway. So, just to kick off, why communications? Why are communications important? Communications are the foundation of every single business today. We have multiple digital channels in the marketplace, but staying close to your customers, getting that one-to-one connection, whether it's voice, video, chat, now the new AI features. Communication is the fundamental trend in how businesses connect and how businesses grow. Now, we see a trend today that for a long time, voice has actually been in on-prem. There's been a lot of people kind of sweating those assets. The trend of moving into the cloud is actually an accelerating trend that we'll talk about in a minute. But for today, when you think about, I did a webinar last month with Peter Coffey from Salesforce. We spoke specifically to people, customers, joint customers ours like Glassdoor or Cradlepoint. They actually highlighted the importance of actually moving into the cloud, not because it's a much more flexible solution, but actually because they actually did that seamlessly amid the lockdown in the COVID environment anyway. So making sure that you actually have this digital flexibility to actually work from home, work remotely, or actually do business wherever your customers need you to do business, and not more importantly, how your customers today want you to do business through these multiple digital channels. When we think about the opportunity that sits in front of us, we did a lot of research last year through outside Synergy Research, and they've actually given us the trends. They're actually looking forward to the total TAM of the market. When you think about what Vonage has as an offering, we have a unified comms offering. We also have a contact center offering. We also have an overall CPaaS offering. As you can see, the trend is growing year on year on year. What we just got back from Forrester this year is actually that because of the COVID crisis that we're in, that opportunity has actually accelerated tenfold. What they were looking at is they were looking at market data from 2030, and that's accelerated. So the growth rate between 2020 to 2030 have all been pulled in, and that growth is actually going to be explosive between 2020 and 2022. The coronavirus outbreak has actually highlighted the requirements for organizations to take this digital transformation today, to take AI, to take automation, to take the disaster recovery, to improve the CX experience between the customers and the people today. So what we're seeing as a trend, not only as in the marketplace for Vonage as a CPaaS, a UCaaS, and a CCaaS provider, we're actually seeing the timelines reduce in this accelerated trend. And this is the latest information that we're actually getting from Gartner. Not only that, we're actually hearing from our customers, during the transition, how important it was that they had their entire business suite in the cloud anyway. When we think about why we're hosting a Summit partner, we see that working very closely with Salesforce, one of those home technical errors, working very closely with Salesforce, having a deeply embedded offering with Salesforce, from Vonage perspectives, there's always the element of the SI, GSI, and other ISV partners that we work with. This type of a triumvirate that we see has been the key to success over the years on not only implementing, not only driving net new business with Salesforce or alongside Salesforce, it's actually implementing that for the customer success. When you think about the business that we have today, we have three key things that we're driving with partners. First, it's actually the deep product technology that we have with Salesforce. Secondly is the enablement that we have with our SIs and our GSIs. And the third is actually the customer success around that. When we're thinking about the drive for growth in our business, we actually think about being the world's most flexible cloud platform. What does that include? That includes APIs. And again, when you think about some of the APIs that we have, you think about any of the rideshare companies in the world. They'll be using our APIs, whether that's voice, video, authentication. When you think about Uber, or you think about any of the new HLS, they're using our video APIs. And those video APIs are extremely accelerated. They're actually booming in the marketplace today, but these are customized, specific ways that new applications want to communicate with their customers. When it comes to unified communications, we're deeply embedded into Salesforce. Unified comms are not only for the individual, they're actually for company-wide communication. So again, if you have maybe some back office finance, or if you have some back office communications with the end customer, how are you actually capturing that information in Salesforce today? If you're actually using our embedded use technology, you're able to not only record that information, you're actually able to transcribe that information so we can see exactly what's being said between the finance department and customer. Again, driving more customer satisfaction and customer improvement. When we think about overall our contact center, we have the most robust contact center in the marketplace today. When you think about how long we've been partnering with Salesforce on that contact center, we keep embedding more deeper functionality in there, whether it's the pre-call transcription around our AI technology, or even the post-call transcription around our AI technology. How are you actually using that to drive, again, better communications with your customers? Vonage with Salesforce today, as we discussed, we're fairly deep in regards to what we're doing with Salesforce, but actually I don't know if everyone's aware of how many particular point products we have. We have many deep integration points with Salesforce. When we think about it, the contact center, everyone's known for the contact center, but we're one of the first people who can actually resell Einstein as a product because it's deeply embedded to our contact center. So the product alignment with Salesforce, it's fairly deep. When we think about the unified comm, as I mentioned earlier, we take any phone call from any telephone, be it a soft phone or a desk phone, and actually integrate that back into Salesforce, into the back office, so you can see any sales call, any finance call, any call that anyone in your company is doing, whether they're at home, whether they're in the car, whether they're remote, and actually bring that back into Salesforce. So again, you can use Einstein or different pieces of technology to actually look at that call and interrogate that call for compliancy. When you think about some of the other integrations we have on the outbound dialing side, high velocity sales is a product that we support. We have a couple of big customers now, and these are global customers that actually have contact centers for outbound dialing. Why are we using that? Because again, it's the way that we communicate with our customers, how we actually help Salesforce communicate with their customers with a global platform. So if you have a contact center that has an outbound dialing contact center that actually has needs outside North America, we can suit those needs. So again, we have deep technology that's actually been embedded there. People might not know our video APIs, that was powering Salesforce SOS. We're now working with Salesforce very closely around HLS solutions or field service lightning solutions. Because again, these are communication solutions that need to be built into the customer application or built into the Salesforce application. And these are the new video applications that the post-COVID world is actually looking for and driving for. And all these are actually done in line with the Salesforce product team. So as you can see, we're known for a contact center product, but we should be known as a voice platform, not only a voice platform, but a digital platform. All of these integrations with Salesforce, all of the work that we've done with Salesforce has actually put us into a very good position. When you think about what Salesforce, how they look into their ecosystem, how they view and value their partners, they actually look at the App Exchange, they look at customer success, they look at 3 key criteria to measure a partner's success. With that, they look at our renewal rate. We have such a deep embedded product in Salesforce, we actually have a very, very high renewal rate for our customer base. They also look at, when they're evaluating their partner ecosystem, they look at how many integration points does a partner like Vonage have with Salesforce. And as you can see, as I just went through, we have multiple integration points. We have about 5 or 10, and we actually deeply use a lot of their technology today. When you actually look at our App Exchange, where the highest CTI, and I don't like that word CTI because we think of ourselves as a communications platform, but the highest ranked CTI on the App Exchange today. What does it all deliver for Vonage as a company? That actually delivers us as a summit partner. I'm really proud to be, and this is why I asked Ryan to come on board, I'm really proud to be a summit partner. We're only 1 out of 14 summit partners globally. And when you think about that, being chosen as a one leading partner in the communication space, out of 4,000 odd Salesforce partners, it's a really, it shows the deep-seated work that we've done with Salesforce over the last 10 years, to drive technology adoption, to drive retention, to drive innovation. We keep driving innovation with Salesforce. As we move to the next generation of AI, as we move to the next generation of voice, we're still alongside Salesforce and driving this innovation. So I do want to thank Ryan and the ISV team for actually highlighting that and promoting that, but also putting together a package to actually recognize partners like Vonage that really do appreciate the deep insights that we have with Salesforce. Sorry, my AI comes on every once in a while. I have Siri asking me questions in my ear. What I would like to do, and just looking at time here, I've spoken for 13 minutes. I'd like to actually introduce Rodolfo, who is the president of Vonage Applications Group. What I'm going to do now is make sure to ask Rodolfo a couple of questions to hopefully give you some insights and overview on what Vonage as a company is thinking, where we're going, and what we're doing. Rodolfo, welcome. How are you?
Very good, Robert. Thank you. Thanks for having me here in this, I think it's your first virtual partner summit.
Yes,
and mine too. It's good to have the Salesforce.com partners here with us. Welcome everyone here. Thanks for having me, Robert.
Thank you, Rodolfo. I look forward to seeing you again soon. It's been a long time anyway. We've had a lot of calls, but I look forward to the physical world again. So.
Indeed.
Can you give me just give me a little bit about yourself, so again the teams out there are understand you a little bit better. Can you give me some background on yourself, your role at Vonage, what you're doing?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm going to give you just a little bit of a background that is relevant to this conversation here. I started in Vonage beginning of this year. I was fortunate enough to have at least 2.5 months, January and February, together with the team. So I was, during January and February of this year, I was together with the team. We had the opportunity to have our sales kickoff where I met everybody. I was able to travel around a little bit, including UK, where I met a lot of our partners and customers, and actually I was with a few folks in Salesforce.com in London there. So and after that, as everyone know, the second half of March we are entering this lockdown due to the COVID. But I was fortunate enough to be these 2.5 months with the team at Vonage, and now working in this virtual fashion now. Before that, I worked 12 years with SAP and 17 years with HP. Most of my career come in a technology business. Most recently, 15 to 20 years being a president of our companies, like president of Americas for SAP. So in the software business. So I was part of I saw the revolution of the software business moving from on-premise to the cloud. And in all honesty, I'm much due to the Salesforce.com, doing the beginning of 2000 or very late 1990s or early 2000s. So I was part of that revolution also with them and joined this company that I see a big opportunity for us in the communication business now.
Thank you. I went through a quick history of Vonage and Vonage specifically with Salesforce. As you see, as we see the communications actually moving into the cloud, how do you foresee Vonage's growth with Salesforce and the ecosystem? And more importantly, for the audience today, how do you see that benefiting the partners that we have on the call today?
Yeah, I see. Look, what Salesforce did in the 2000s, moving the companies and the service or the license, the software license from on-premise to the cloud, we are doing now in the communication business. That's the revolution that we are doing together with Salesforce. We started to partner with Salesforce from New Voice Media. New Voice Media is an acquisition that we did back 2 years ago. So Vonage, New Voice Media is was a UK-based company. We have a great success in Europe, working with the Salesforce. As I said, I was beginning of this year in London, where I visited not only Salesforce, but a few partners there, where I witnessed and I could see the great success that we have in UK and Europe with the Salesforce. I think what we are doing now is bringing this successful Salesforce partnership that we have with Salesforce into US. We started that beginning of this year, late last year, beginning this year, and we are in the beginning of this process, Robert. We are very beginning of this process, but I already saw a lot of attraction. Look at our results in Q1 and Q2. We are about to announce our results in Q2, but Q1 we announced a lot of enterprises that are joining us as a CCaaS and with Salesforce. So I see only upside for us with the Salesforce. These kind of events that we are partnering with them and in the enterprise segment and the mid-market segment. We are very focused on the mid-market and enterprise. From a communications perspective, that's exactly where I see a good fit for CCaaS and a good fit for us to partner with Salesforce. I have been discussing that with a few folks at Salesforce and a few folks internally, and we all see a big upside for this year and next year. So beginning of the process, if we just replicate the successful partnership that we have in Europe here, we can multiply this business by 4x. Just doing what we did there, in the U.S. is a 4x that we can multiply. So this is a fantastic opportunity for us. When we talk to the customers, and what I see is that they see now this next revolution for the communications tied with the process revolution that we see before with the software side, and this is the perfect combination with the Salesforce.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm so excited, I think, about the next years. We talk about this a lot. Obviously, we speak every week, if not every day. and kind of look at the future and the growth and how, you know, a lot of companies actually are moving everything into the cloud. You know, in this communications, it's accelerating now. So I want to switch gears a little bit. You know, we talked a little bit about the communications industry. So can you tell us, you know, what have you seen, you know, since you've been at Vonage, you know, in the communications industry, and how our partnership has changed in lieu of COVID, you know, in lieu of the pandemic? You know, have you seen any fundamental shifts and changes that you want to talk about?
Yeah, look, we are now witnessing one of these fundamental shifts in the, you know, the post-COVID world or during the COVID world, what we are seeing, what we are doing now, the virtual events, etc. But let me, for those folks that are not familiar with the communication, you gave a very nice introduction to the communication. What is happening with the communication today is exactly what happened with the software industry back in the 2000s, early 2000s, and during the, you know, the 2000 decade. We moved the on-premise licensed software from you know, on-premise to the cloud. In the communication business, if you look at the majority of the communications is still a non-premise communication based on PBX, based on routers and PBX, etc. And everything is very contained in a PBX. And of course, once you are in this contained PBX on-premise, you have limited capabilities, limited functionality, and flexibility for the customers. What we see the communication now is just like the software you know, revolution from on-premise to the cloud. The communication is going through the same revolution. We are going from on-premise to the cloud. What happened in the software business back then, that at first you saw small companies, then mid-sized companies doing that because they didn't have their on-premise install base or heritage or legacy. They moved it very fast to the cloud, the SMB and the mid-market. What I see now in the communications, not only the SMB and mid-market is moving pretty fast, but also the enterprises are moving. And mostly also because of the COVID, what we saw with, you know, talking to some customers, Robert, and everyone here, is that, you know, they live in this world that is contained, that is not flexible. And once they needed to move from the on-premise and from, you know, the work they were doing into a remote work, a contingency work, they couldn't do it because the communication was not supporting them, was not supporting the business. So we have 3 words for that. It's about continuity, it's about contingency, and it's about compliance. Business continuity. Once you go from you know, the on-premise world to the cloud world, you give the business continuity. You can work in a new world. Well, I can tell you that since we got the lockdown, it took us 24 hours to move 100% of our employees from work, you know, office work to work remotely or work from home type of a work. We did not miss a beat, and we proved that when we announced Q1, and we're going to prove again when we announce our second quarter in terms of a growth, in terms of support to our customers. It's also about work contingency. So you need contingency to your work. You want to work anytime, anywhere. So with a good framework and infrastructure of a communication, you can work from anywhere, anytime. That's what we offer to our customers. And the third part, the third C there, which is compliance. You don't want to have security issues. You don't want to have any kind of issues in terms of compliance, security, or privacy there. So we offer all of them in a very compliant fashion. So we have a business continuity, we have work contingency, and we have compliance. Those are the 3 C's that we put in the communication on top of the communication. That's what we offer our customers. And we saw a big acceleration of that, Robert, after, you know, the COVID impact. Why? Because the companies, they wanted to continue to work. They want to offer this contingency type of a work. They want to have business continuity, and they want to have they want to do that in an environment that they can trust. That's why we had this big acceleration in the second half of our Q1 and especially Q2, and we continue to see that in the calendar Q3 and a calendar Q4. And I see that the communication now, it's part of the business process revolution that we had with the software before. Now it's the business process revolution tied with the communication revolution and everything in the cloud now. That's the new environment that we are, and accelerated because of a COVID.
It was, I take those points on board. You're right to the point. It's a transition now, and I feel, I spoke to many contact centers over Q2. All right, the contact centers like Cradlepoint or like Glassdoor, who actually had their communications in the cloud, they were prepared like us for that quick 24-hour shift. If you go back to my webinar with Peter Coffey in early June, Glassdoor said, listen, they went into COVID on a Friday to say, we're going to test it over the weekend, and we're all going to come back on Monday and see how it worked. They never came back on Monday because, again, they were prepared. They had everything in the cloud, and then they were locked down. I was speaking to contact centers who had that kind of tradition, the old school, not in the cloud, on-prem, and they had to start staggering people into the office, and they had to build off all these other contingency plans, which were not good for their customers, not good for, again, the general health of the public. So they had to move quickly into the cloud. So it was a night and day switch between people that adopted cloud a little bit earlier on the communication side and the people who didn't, who had to kind of force their way through it. But I'm going to keep an eye on time.
Yeah, we announced
one quick last question.
I'm sorry, yeah. Before that, we announced in Q1 that we helped more than 20,000 customers to move from their on-premise, to move from the working, contained work environment to a contingency work environment, and we are continuing to do that. And we believe there's going to be a big mix of that in the future. So this will continue. Sorry, Robert, your question.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we'll continue to help customers again through that transition. And again, this kind of leads into my next question. All right, if you had one piece of advice for some of the consultants or some of the engineers or some of the partners on the line today, what would that advice be in regards to Vonage and?
Yeah, working in the technology business for more than 30 years and working in the software business for 20 years now. I think one of the guys, the one thing that I learned that I can share is if it's possible, it will happen. In the technology world or in the software world, if it's possible, it will happen sooner or later. So the process, the process automation that we saw the software doing, CRM with Salesforce or Salesforce automation with a Salesforce.com company. If it's possible to do it, it's going to happen. And look at the kind of a company, the kind of a service that Salesforce does today in the market, supporting and helping thousands and thousands and thousands of companies. And now the communication revolution, moving to the cloud and offering a complete stack as we offer the complete stack from CCaaS to UCaaS to API or CPaaS, just like in the software you have the software as a service, the platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. In communication, we have the same stack. The contact center as a service, check it, we have it. The unified communication as a service, UCaaS, check it, we have it. The platform as a service with the API and platform API, we have it, check it. So the revolution is there, it will happen. And this combination of the software and the communication will happen. And it's happening now faster than before because of the new era that we live at, Robert.
Yeah, I mean, there's some great research out on that. I mean, like I was trying to get across earlier, the timelines have just really accelerated for this flexible communication. And I believe we have the platform to help these SIs actually serve some of their customers. So thank you very much, Rodolfo. I'm just going to keep an eye on time. We will take questions and again, maybe even set up some one-on-one calls with some of these partners afterward.
I would love to. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'll stay here because I want to see Brian. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you very much. Ryan, how are you?
Robert, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Good to see you again. I'm good, thank you. Good. So I know we're going to take a couple of minutes here. I'm just keeping an eye on time. Myself and Rodolfo, we always lose track of time, so I do apologize for that. I told you you'd come on about 20 minutes in, so good to have you back, Ryan.
Thank you.
We've had a great partnership over the years. I enjoy, I think the last time we met up was at Dreamforce. So it's going to be a virtual Dreamforce again. And so let's take the virtual world and do the best that we can with it, right?
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Well, I think I've got control. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everybody, depending on where you live. My name is Ryan Began. I'm a Regional Vice President here at Salesforce for the ISV team. And I'm honored and excited to talk about our partnership today with Vonage and fundamentally why ISVs are so important to our shared customers as a whole. The fact that, Robert, you're moving from a conversation with Peter Coffey in June to me in July. I don't know if there's a complete apples to apples there, but I'm proud to be in the same rarefied air. So thank you for that. A little bit about myself. You're probably wondering, well, who is this guy? I've never heard of him before. I've been at Salesforce for 10 years. I've been on the AppExchange team the entire time. My teams are responsible for 45% of the worldwide revenue that is coming in through the channel for the ISV team. I've got 3 boys, and I've been married for 18 years. This is them pre-COVID, right? They're a little more feral these days, but all is well. I'm a Golden Bear, so even though I live in Maryland now, I am a Pac-12 guy, and I've been in Maryland since 2002. So I can say fundamentally that the last 10 years of the AppExchange and seeing a partner like Vonage, there's been tremendous success. But I am a true believer, and I think fundamentally the reason why I've stayed here for this long in this group is that I believe that the best is yet to come. So before I start the presentation, I just think it's important to say thank you. I think it's important to say thank you to the Vonage team as a customer and as a partner. Right? Your relationship with us makes us a better company, and you prove that to us every day, and I appreciate it. But I also think it's important to say thank you to the SIs that are on the phone, who are helping with this narrative of digital transformation that has fundamentally moved from buzzword bingo to true digital imperative. And even in this upside down world, customers are being delighted, business objectives are being met. And I truly appreciate all the work that you're doing. And I look forward to continuing on this journey together. So headline, there's been a lot of success with the AppExchange, over the last decade to decade and a half. And it's funny, Robert, you had mentioned that there were 4,000 apps on the AppExchange. There's actually 5 now. 5,000 listings on the AppExchange, 8 million installs, and 90,000 customer reviews. And I don't put this on the screen to just brag about the AppExchange. I put it on the screen to sort of take you back 3 or 4 slides to where Robert showed the Vonage AppExchange listing, right? The #1 digital communications platform provider. 750 to 800 plus shared customers. 750 to 800 plus 4.95 to 5-star reviews. Right? They are the #1 player in their space. And for the last 10 years, they have demonstrated with relentless hard work to create that trust and drive that innovation that really makes the AppExchange, as cool as it is. And frankly, our customers love apps, right? It's sort of a kind of a no-brainer at this point. But at the end of the day, our customers are turning to the AppExchange to make this digital transformation even more apparent. And the data that you see here is essentially some customer data that we collected last year, where 90% of our customers are thrilled with their AppExchange app, and 84% believe that their productivity has increased. And these are all sort of obvious statements. So if I'm an SI, on the phone, and I haven't heard of Vonage before, like, Ryan, help frame the do-step here for me. What's in it for, my business, working with Salesforce? And I'll tell you, right, together, there's a huge opportunity by working together. And what you see here is the output of a report that IDC has been generating with us for, I think, the last 4 years, which talks about this concept of this global economy. Right? In this global economy, the new stats are, by 2025, 4.2 million new jobs will be created, and $1.2 trillion in GDP will be generated. I have a hard time saying the word trillion. It just seems so far-fetched, but it's reality. and it's amazing. Now, the thing that I think is the most amazing here, and it sort of galvanizes that Venn diagram that Robert showed earlier in his presentation, was the document goes on to state that if I'm a partner and I'm a system integrator and I invest, $1, I can yield $6 back. Now, I'm a Cal graduate. I majored in psychology, so I'm not a math guy. But if somebody told me that if I were to partner with Salesforce and a partner like Vonage, and for every $1 that I got $6 back, I probably would think that's a pretty good bet. So food for thought. Now, we had a slide up just a few minutes ago, which outlined Vonage reaching the summit tier, right? And again, it's a pretty impactful statement, but I thought we'd talk about really what does that mean, specifically as it relates to these types of criteria. And here's what it means. In March of this year, 2020, Salesforce unveiled a new AppExchange partner program, right? And that AppExchange partner program created a Trailblazer score for our ISVs. Your Trailblazer score is a measurement of your partner success. And as a part of where you land in the Trailblazer score, there are a total of 4 particular tiers, with Summit being the top tier. Well, what you can see here is essentially the Vonage scorecard, right? Or their report card, right? And I think it's important that we brag about this a little bit because it's incredibly impactful. The first piece of criteria that we think about here is customer success, right? It's the number 2 value at Salesforce behind trust, right? It drives a SaaS business as a whole, right? And Vonage, again, when you think about their attrition rate with our shared customers, or how impactful their AppExchange listing is, they could not have scored any higher, right? It's almost, I don't know where we're going to go from here, Robert. I don't know how we do this. Secondly, you think about innovation, right? And innovation means, how are you leveraging the Salesforce technology stack, right? Or the new things that we come out with to make your solution better for our shared customers. It also talks about how are you as a partner using our Trailhead platform to learn and to galvanize what our collective message is in the ecosystem. And again, almost perfect. And I think realistically, I'm more impressed with innovation because this has been a tried and true approach for Vonage for the last 10 years. Again, they have been building on the Salesforce platform for over a decade. They have access to all of our new APIs, pilot programs as a part of being a Summit partner. So they're really truly leveraging all of the cutting edge technology that is made available to our ISVs first. But third, Robert hinted at it early in the presentation, is that they were the first digital communications partner, or ISV, to be able to take the Einstein Analytics technology and embed that into their solution and deliver it to customers who need it, right? Which is driving market share and revenue and customer success, at a faster scale than any partner of their peers. And then third, you just think about the overall engagement, right? What does this mean from a customer, a health perspective? And Rudolfo just hinted at it. Things are really, really good at Vonage. Well, it's reflective here too, right? And fundamentally, over the last year and a half, right, which I'm, sort of benchmarking, I have seen an incredible amount of success and new logos and existing wins from the Vonage team. And their portfolio of business is probably one that most ISVs, would trade, a majority stake in their business for, right? There isn't a segment inside of Salesforce, customer segment from enterprise to SMB, that they haven't impacted, or their blend of business from EMEA to the US, it's as balanced as any partner I've ever seen. So again, if I'm a system integrator and I'm looking at what's the intent for why I should partner with Vonage, the customer base that they've already established and understanding how to impact more of our customer base, the overall innovation and just customer success and lack of attrition is just, again, I can't be hopefully any more clear on how important these guys are to us as a partner. Now, what I will say is this, is that it's hinted, it was discussed earlier about, again, the Vonage platform, Vonage building on the Salesforce platform, and Salesforce in its customer 360 approach. Vonage truly extends, the customer 360 story. And for those of you who aren't familiar with this slide, I'll just try and orient you around it quickly. In the circle here is fundamentally all of the products that Salesforce sells, starting with sales, rounding with success. The stuff to the right is essentially the platform or the infrastructure that powers our products. Vonage is built on our platform, right? So number one, big win. But number two, their relationship with the Service Cloud is now as important as it ever was. But again, new things happening with high velocity sales. Their ability to impact, analytics and MuleSoft. And again, I haven't even really started to talk about what we're doing as an industry, solution provider and the wins that they've covered with HLS, financial services, travel and hospitality, retail, manufacturing. The list goes on. The way that I look at this particular slide is that the circle and the clock are all the products that we sell. All of the stuff in the middle, that open area, is where our partners play. And it is very easy to see how Vonage is just driving this extensibility inside of the customer 360 to help us with this digital paradigm, right? Which I round out with, which is this digital transformation story that is more important now than ever. Rodolfo just talked about it. He said it in probably a better way than I can. He talked about business continuity, he talked about a work contingency, and he talked about compliance, right? This is sort of saying that same thing, right? The one thing that we are hearing from all of our customers is that the shift from this concept of, the old world to the new world has moved from buzzword bingo to the new imperative, right? And Robert has been telling me this for years now. He's been telling everybody at Salesforce this now, which is you need a solution or a partner that can drive video, that can drive voice, that can drive chat, that can drive AI, right? And frankly, this new paradigm is actually not as overwhelming as we thought it might be because Vonage has been here this entire time, right? Call centers are moving remotely, right? No big deal. Vonage can handle it. Employees need tools for sharing and collaborating with their colleagues real time from home. No problem. Vonage can handle it. And ultimately, this is the new world, right? I can't wait to get back to, a reality check where I can be sitting next to everybody on stage. But the fundamental question is, how are we going to adapt? And again, the good news out of all of this is that Vonage has been here this whole time and they're ready to go, which makes me, again, really excited at the opportunity in this ecosystem because the best is yet to come. So with that, I say thank you. Happy to take any questions, but really appreciate the time.
Thank you very much. I am going to keep an eye on time. We do want to get to some questions, but I am conscious of time. We actually have just a couple minutes to wrap up. Ryan, always a pleasure. Great to connect again. Thank you for coming on here, so thank you. If you don't mind, just to move relatively quickly, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the summit in the next week to 10 days, what's coming up. When you think about some of the schedule that we have, I hope that everyone has access to the URL. You can sign up for these different online courses. We're going to look at powering up high velocity sales for product team, our product team, and Brittany. We're going to talk about the integration, the global coverage that we have, the global stability on our network. We're going to have a boot camp pitch. Keith's going to lead that boot camp pitch. We're going to talk about. We're actually going to talk about Service Cloud Voice. There's two of them coming up. One of them on Thursday, so please join that one as well. We're going to talk about our AI solutions. And we look at this as a complete spectrum. We look at it kind of pre-call, if you're thinking about just a contact center, pre-call, during the call, and post-call. How is AI actually helping and managing that entire call cycle? So these are all between 30 minutes and an hour and a half, depending on the session that you sign up for. So please sign up for those sessions. We can put maybe a chat to the registration page now. What we're doing, just because we are not allowed to fly or we're not flying now, we do want to give some promotions and get everyone some airline miles. So, throughout the summit, we have, the opportunity to get some pretty cool swag. We want to, get the Vonage brand out there, get some cool swag into your hands anyway. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to give you points for some of the sessions that you attend and the interactions that you're doing between those points. When you get a certain amount of miles, maybe 500 miles, you can redeem that for swag and things that you can enjoy in our new virtual life anyway. So please sign up for some of those sessions. We have a bunch of stuff, and we're gonna stick to some of the Salesforce theme around trailheads, get some camping gear out there, some tablets, some headphones. There's a ton of things that we want to give to anyway, so please join these sessions and interact. So what I do want to stress, though, is you should reach out to the team members should you have any questions. We're going to try to get back to you. I'm being pinned on time here, but we're going to try to answer any questions that you have. Either I'll email you back directly, or maybe I'll CC Ryan or pull Ryan into the conversation if it's a Salesforce question as well. But I'll get back to you today. But please reach out to the team. As you can see, we have a team specifically regionalized. That'll cover North America, Danielle, Andy, Lauren, Kathleen, Brittany, another Danny anyway, all run by Kristen Findendock here in San Francisco. So these are our regional kind of people that are calling into Salesforce and, again, trying to work with the partners. We have the SI team, led by Joe Cleaver anyway, with Chris King Jordan, again, East, West, and Central. So please reach out to them individually. I'm available anytime. I'm home, so I'm working all the time now. And, we look forward, again, to the virtual summit over the next week or so. I'm going to wrap up now because I'm being told that we're over time. So please, thank you very much for joining. Thank Ryan. Thank you, Rodolfo. Jordan, let me just ping. Is there anything that we want to answer now? Do I have time? Jordan's kind of the MC here. Let's put a little chat in there. Okay. What I might do is there's a question here in terms of percentage of where your Salesforce revenue is coming from in North America, UKI, mainland Europe, APAC. What geographical separations do you use? I'll take that question. Maybe Rodolfo can come on top of it. We actually have a very good split between, and again, when we look at the business, we look at our business between the API group and we look at the applications group, two sales motions that actually go into the marketplace. So when you think about the API group, we're the number one API outside of North America. So we have a lot of our sales and accelerating sales, huge growth in that API team outside of North America. When you look at the applications group, where I sit, it's we have core applications, UC and CC. Because we are a European-based company, Invoice Media was a European-based company, the higher growth rates traditionally came from our contact center business in UK, because that's where Invoice Media was, then in Europe, and then in North America. Since Vonage has actually purchased Invoice Media, we're accelerating our North American numbers. And so as Ryan kind of pointed out, we're at that stage where growth in both the European theater and North American theater for our CC business, our CCaaS business, is about the same. And again, APAC and Asia is lagging a bit. We'll try to grow that. On the UC side of our business, our North American business is really still accelerating. That's our UCaaS business, where we're just launching some new products for the CCaaS applications in Europe, and we expect some good growth rates there in Europe. I hope I addressed that question anyway. Right. One more quick question. No, I have that one. Sorry. Over the years, Vonage has made many acquisitions in the Salesforce ecosystem. Are there any acquisition plans for the future? If so, what type of features, functionalities? Again, I'm going to ask Rodolfo to come in. We actually have a great portfolio from a Vonage perspective. Last year, we purchased a super AI company, and we're just embedding some of that technology. But I think looking forward, I'm going to hand that one off to Rodolfo.
Yeah, you just mentioned, I think we did this AI acquisition recently. We will always look for good acquisitions. We acquired 9 companies in the last 5.5 years, and we will always look for new acquisitions that are complementary to our portfolio in terms of the technology or market penetration. But we are always open for acquisitions and for expanding our footprint, absolutely, and our IP, of course.
Thank you, Rodolfo. Okay, I am out of time. I'm 5 minutes over time, so I do apologize. Thank you very much. Thank Jordan and the team to organize this. I want to thank my guest speakers. Rodolfo, appreciate your time. Great job. Always good to connect. I look forward to the next webinar that we're on together. Ryan, same thing. I look forward to seeing you both in the physical world again. But I've really enjoyed the time with you today. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. Good job, Brian. Looking forward to see you, soon. Very good.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.